Welcome to today's long-awaited RootsMagic webinar. My name is Michael Booth. I am Vice President of RootsMagic and one of its developers. And also with us this evening is the Roots Magician himself, Bruce Busby. And Bruce, of course, is the President of RootsMagic and its author. RootsMagic 6 is the newest version of our award-winning genealogy and family tree software which makes family history easy. And tonight, we'll look at one of our most popular new features, online publishing. With the new online publishing, you can create beautiful, dynamic websites with pedigree, family, and individual views, as well as supporting notes, sources, and media. And with our free my.rootsmagic.com hosting service, your genealogy has a free online home with a click of a mouse. And with that introduction, I'll turn the time over to Bruce.
Hey, thanks for joining us. I am really excited about this particular webinar. This feature that we're going to be talking about, the Publish Online, is a brand new feature that we added in RootsMagic 6. What we wanted to do was make it easy for our users, for our RootsMagic users, to be able to share their data online. We wanted them to not have to be techie. We didn't want our users to have to know how to use an FTP program, how to go get server space, how to do all of that uploading and everything. We wanted to make it easy for them. So one of the things we did is we created a new website called myrootsmagic.com, my.rootsmagic.com. And what this is it's a free hosting service. It's a place where you can put your website, put your family up, and you can do it for free if you're a RootsMagic user. And in addition to it being free, we've also tried to make it as easy as possible to put your information up online. And what we wanted to be able to do is on this site, we wanted to be able to let you have really nice looking websites, be able to let you put a personal website that has a title and an introduction, pictures, let you have your own links on your home page, let you create a pedigree, a nice looking pedigree of your family. We also give you other views, but we're going to come back and we're going to kind of show you this later. What we're going to do first, though, is we are going to step over into RootsMagic itself, and we're going to show you step by step from the very beginning to the end how you can take your family in RootsMagic and put it online for free, and to show you how easy that actually is. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to come up to the Internet menu, and I'm going to choose the option Publish Online. Now, you might notice as a sidebar, there's a thing called Create HTML Files. That's the old style website creating that was in RootsMagic 1 through 5. And that's the one where all it did is it created a bunch of HTML static website files and then just said, there they are. And it was up to you to go find server space and to know how to use an FTP program and to upload those and do all of those kind of things. Now, we left that in for those people who are using that, but what we're going to be talking about here, and the feature that's so easy and nice to use, is this Publish Online. So I'm going to go ahead and click on Publish Online, and you're going to see there's two options. One of them is Publish My Information Online. And what that does is that's going to step you through selecting options for creating your website and then put it online. Now, the second option here is to manage my my.rootsmagic.com account. Now, on that website that I showed you, my.rootsmagic.com, you will need to have an account before you can publish your information. The reason for that is because you don't want somebody else being able to upload their information right over the top of yours. So you need an account so that you can have a login and password so that only you can upload to your own account. So I could go ahead and step through this publish, and at some point down through the process, it would ask me to go ahead and create an account. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to create an account right now. I'm going to just start. So I'm going to go into Manage My Account. Now, this screen, it's asking me to log in, okay, to my rootsmagic.com account. Now, let's say I don't have an account. We're going to start from the very beginning, step right through. So we're going to say I want to create an account on my.rootsmagic.com. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and say, let's create an account. and RootsMagic's going to say, what is the desired username? And I might say it's John Jacob Smith. Not going to use John Jacob Jingleheimer Smith. That's too long. And I just want something that an account name that I know is not already up there, because this account name needs to be unique. It's it has to be one that's not already being used on my.rootsmagic.com. Okay. Desired password. I'm just going to put in my password. Okay. It's okay that you can see it, because you're not going to be able to get onto this, because this account will be deleted after we're done, and we'll even show you how to do that. Email address. Okay. This email address is basically where you need to put an email address, and it's only used for us to contact you. Okay. It's only used to contact you in case there's a problem with the with your RootsMagic, my RootsMagic account. We're not going to spam you. It has nothing to do with where we're going to send anything other than if there's an actual problem with your account. Now I'm going to click Create a New Account, and RootsMagic is then going to come up, and it's going to, it's going to say somebody's already using that email address. So let's go ahead and type in. I'm just going to put in an email address that doesn't actually even exist. Let's just do this. Now, we advise you don't use invalid email addresses. Maybe you do want to keep secret, but if there's a problem with your myrootsmagic.com account and we can't get a hold of you, we may not have any choice but to delete your account. So, like I say, we don't use it for anything except for that. So, put a valid email address in there. Let's go ahead and create this new account, and RootsMagic's going to come up, and it's going to give me a number of different options. Okay, it's created the account and basically logged me into that account. I can check the site status. If I click on this, you're going to see there's no site associated with this username. In other words, I just created this account. I haven't published a site yet, and it's telling me that. I can go in and delete the current site once I've created it. So if I put up a site and then decide, I really don't want that site, I can delete that. I can also actually go in and delete this account. So if I had a site up there, it would get rid of that site, and then it would delete this John Jacob Smith account. I could also change the password or change my email address. But I'm going to go ahead and just close out of this, and I now have a my.rootsmagic.com account. So let's go ahead and start using it. That's all there was to creating the account. You may want to write down your login and your password so that you don't forget it. Although if you do forget it, you can contact us to get it. Or your email or your password, you can reset it right from inside the program, as you saw. Okay, so I'm going to go back in, and now I'm going to say Publish Online. And now, instead of managing my account, I'm going to say I'm ready to publish. I've created my account, and I'm ready to actually publish my information online. Okay, so this first page is just where I'm going to give it some very basic information. The first thing RootsMagic asks for is a project name for this particular website. Now, this name does not correspond to what my eventual URL is. Okay, my URL is going to be my.rootsmagic.com/whatever my login name was, my username was. So in my case, it's going to be my.rootsmagic.com/John Jacob Smith. The only thing this file name right here is used for, or this project name, is to create the folder that RootsMagic is going to create all of these files in. Because one of the things you can do is, in addition or instead of posting or publishing this website up on my.rootsmagic.com, if you have your own server, then RootsMagic will put all the files into this folder, and then it will say, all the files are in this folder. If you have your own server and you know how to use FTP, just take all those files and put those up on your server, and you can put these files on your own site. Okay, and so that's all that that name is used for, is just the folder it's going to put those files in. The next thing it wants to know is, do you want to include everyone in your file? And if you check that, it's checked by default. RootsMagic is going to include everyone in your database on the website. It's not limited to just a single pedigree or a single family. It doesn't have those same limitations that the old RootsMagic websites used to have, where it would only do one person's pedigree. This will let you include everyone in your file. If you don't want to, if you only want to include Smiths, or you only want to include the people in a particular line, uncheck this, and when RootsMagic gets to that point in this wizard, it will bring up a list of everybody in your file and let you select which people you want to include on the website. And it's okay to include everyone, because one of the features that RootsMagic will give you, and you'll see that on a couple of pages down, is the ability to privatize information on people that are living. So if they're living, you'll be able to privatize it. The next option is, do you want to add a help page for visitors? And I'm just going to go ahead and leave that checked. I'll show you what that looks like when we get there. It's just a page that helps visitors more easily navigate around through your website. Finally, what date format do you want RootsMagic to use when it creates the pages? And you have a number of different options to choose from, so just select whatever you want. Click Next, and RootsMagic is going to ask you to design the home page for your site. Okay, and you can give it a title. You can see that it's remembering the last information that I typed in. So you enter a title that's going to be on that home page, an introduction, and this is where you can put whatever you want. You can talk about the data on the website, or you can talk about, why the website was created, or anything like that. You also can choose a picture for that home page, and right here, this is an option that a number of people asked for. Some people like to have the little introduction above the photo, and some people like to have the photo above the introduction. So you choose which way you want it laid out. Finally, contact information, name and address, and an email address. One thing I'll mention, it is safe to go ahead and enter this if you don't mind people knowing your address or your email. Some people worry about screen scrapers, spammers coming to a website and scraping off like an email address and adding you to a spam list. You don't need to worry about that, because this email address and your address do not sit on a static HTML page. They're only pulled in when the user who visits your website actually clicks the link to bring it up. That's the only time that's ever even pulled in. So it is safe to go ahead and do that if you want. Okay, go ahead and click on Next, and this is where you kind of choose what information you want to include. Do you want to include a GEDCOM file of your data? Do you want to include notes, sources, and photos? If you include photos, do you want to include just the primary photos? Now, let me mention a couple of things here. I personally do not put a GEDCOM file of my data on my website, because if you do, what will happen is some unknown cousin will come along and find your website and say, wow, there's my information, and they're going to grab the GEDCOM, and you may not ever hear from them. So you may not ever even get the chance to meet this new cousin. So what I personally do is I uncheck the GEDCOM file, and then in that introduction on the page before, I will put something along the lines of, hey, if this is your family, I'd be happy to share a GEDCOM of the data with you if you'd like. Just click and email me, and then that way you are able to get in contact with that cousin, and you're still able to share your GEDCOM with them if you'd like. Now, as for photos, the reason that we actually give you the option to only include primary photos is because there is a limitation currently when you publish this website online to our site, to my.rootsmagic. There's currently a 50 megabyte limitation. Okay, that limitation in terms of number of people, you're never going to really hit that. I mean, 30, 40, 50, 100,000 people are not going, a database of that size is not going to fill 50 megabytes. But if your database happens to have 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 images, as some of our users do, those images could easily go over that 50 megabyte limit. So you may want to actually tell it to only include primary photos. Now, we do actually take the images and we do scale them down a little bit. Sometimes actually we scale them down quite a bit. So you can have quite a few images that will still fit within that 50 megabyte limit. Now, down the road, we will most likely be increasing that 50 megabyte limit. That was just a number that we picked on the initial release because we didn't know how many people, what size of files people were going to upload. So we kind of had to put that in just as a precaution, since we basically are providing this all this server space for free. It's free to you. It's not free to us. We have to pay for it. And so we did put that limit at 50 megabytes for now, but it looks like that number will be going up in the future. Okay, this next section is privacy. And this I mentioned earlier. You can go ahead and include everybody in your database and still tell it to privatize living people. So if I check privatize living people and leave these two options like this, what will happen is every person in my file that is living, it's going to replace their name with the word living, and it's not going to print any of their facts. No dates, no places, no nothing. Now, I can be a little bit more lenient if I want, so I could actually say full name, and so anybody that's living, it would print their name, but no facts. Or I could say I want that to put living, but it's okay to print only the date. In other words, for each of those facts, birth, death, burial, it will print the date but won't print the place. Or I can say only print the year or only print the place. In other words, print where they were born but not when. Or you can do the year or place. So you can kind of pick however it is you want to. Now, like I say, this is a fake database, so I'm not going to worry about privatizing living people. You can also choose whether or not to include private facts or private notes. We did a webinar earlier on, and if you go and look at that, it will talk about private facts and private notes. Any fact you enter for a person can be marked as private. There's a checkbox on every single fact, and if you mark that as private and tell this not to include private facts, it will leave those off the website. Same thing with notes. Any notes that are in little squiggly braces are considered private, and if you don't include this, any notes that you have within these squiggly braces will be stripped out before being put up on the website. The final section, links to other websites. This is where you can put your own links on that home page, and you can choose what text you want and what URL or what the website address is for that. And RootsMagic will take this and put that on the home page. And there's a limit. You can put up to 10 of these on there. Okay, that's all there is that you need to do to actually get ready to publish this website. And so I am now going to click Generate Site. When I do this, RootsMagic is going to tell me, oh, that website project already exists. And that means those files, I've already created them once before on my hard drive. That's all it means. Do I want to replace those files on my hard drive with this one? And I'm going to say yes. And so it's creating my website. Okay, and that's all there is to it. I have now, at this point, I have created a full-blown dynamic website on my hard drive. It's not up on the internet yet because I haven't published it, but it is sitting on my hard drive. And it's going to tell me right here, the files to be published are in this folder. That's that folder, that project folder that I mentioned earlier. So if I wanted to upload these files to my own server somewhere, all I would need to do is take all the files and folders and everything that are in this folder, and those are what I would upload to my own private server space. Okay, but we're not going to be talking about that here. We're going to show you how to actually publish this to My RootsMagic. Now, you might want to look at this website in your browser on your computer before you actually publish it. And so if I click Preview this site in my browser, that's just going to open up the website that's on my hard drive in my browser right on my computer. before I upload it. That way I can take a look at it and make sure it looks right, make sure there's not anything in there that I didn't want to actually publish, so I can do that. If I'm using Internet Explorer or Firefox, this will open that directly up and I'll be able to look at my data, my website. If I happen to be using Chrome, if Chrome is my default browser, you'll get a little message that'll come up that will say close all your Chrome windows first and then click this, because Chrome has some special security things in it so that the website code that we create won't work inside of Chrome on your local computer unless this actually starts it and sets it up. Okay. In other words, if you just follow the instructions, everything works great. Now, once you put your website online, whether it's to your own server or to my.rootsmagic, you don't have to worry about that. Chrome works great. Internet Explorer, Firefox, they all work great when people go and look at your website online. It's just Chrome has a special little setting that has to be done if you're looking at files on your own computer. Okay, so I'm not going to bother looking at that because I am ready to publish my site. I'm ready to publish this online. So I'm going to click on Publish. And this right here is that same screen we had very early on. Remember, I said you could log in or you could create an account. As I mentioned, if you stepped through, it would eventually ask me to create an account if I didn't have one. But I do have one, so I am going to log into my account. And it was John Jacob Smith, and I think I remember what my password was. I think log in. Now, if I want to make sure I type the password in, I can click Show Password, and it will show me my password to make sure I actually typed it in right. But by default, it's hidden in case somebody's looking over your shoulder. So I'm going to go ahead and log in. And now I'm seeing all those options that I saw when I first created my account, except there's one extra option, and that's this first one, Publish. Okay, when I first logged in, when I first created that account, I didn't have a website. I hadn't stepped through those options and created the files to publish, so I didn't have this publish option. I did have the check site status and delete the current site and the account and change password and change email. So now I can publish it because I have that file the files I just created. So I'm going to click Publish. Okay, RootsMagic is going to bring up this and say we're ready to publish. Now all it's doing is saying that you agree to the terms. Now these terms, you can go look at them, but basically what the terms mean is that you give us permission to display those pages that you upload. Okay, and that's to keep you from uploading your files and then saying, hey, I didn't want you to let anybody see those files. So that's pretty much what it is. It just gives us permission on my.rootsmagic.com to actually display your files. So I'm going to go ahead and click Publish. And that's it. That's all. What RootsMagic has done is it has uploaded my files to my.rootsmagic.com/JohnJacobSmith. Now I can just click Finish and I can go Quit, but I'm going to go back here to Return to Account Options, and I can click Check the Site Status. Now when I click on this, you're going to see it says it's 30% done. Now what that means is what we've done is instead of taking a bunch of time and made you sit here and wait at your computer while we uploaded one file at a time, we basically zip up the whole website and just throw it up to the server and let the server take care of putting things where they need to go. So once you click Publish and it says your file has been published, you can turn the computer off. You can shut down RootsMagic, you can turn the computer off, and this will all be going in the background. This processing will be going up on our server. You don't need to have your computer even turned on. If you want to make sure it gets there, you can keep checking this until it says it's 100%. Once it's 100%, you know your website is done. Your website is up there. So if I go to my.rootsmagic.com/JohnJacobSmith, we're going to see the website up there that I just put up. Okay. Again, I could, anytime I want to, I could come back and delete that site, so that site's not there anymore, or I could delete the account, or change the password, or whatever. So I'm going to go ahead and close this, and I'm going to go back over. I'm going to go back over here, and I am going to go to my.rootsmagic.com/John Jacob Smith. That's my website that I just created. Click enter, and there is my website. This is the website I just created. Okay, that's all I had to do. We are on the internet. This is not on my computer. We actually posted this up on the internet. Okay, there's the title I had entered. There's the description. I had told it I wanted the description above the picture. Here's the links. There's an index of names, pedigree. These are the two links that I told it to add myself. You can see right there, created March 4th, 2013. That's what today is, March 4th, 2013, that I'm actually doing this webinar. And so it's telling you it's created there. Now, let's go ahead and show you now what these websites look like. Okay, we showed you how easy it is to create them. You just step through, pick a few options, and then log into your account and say publish it. But let's show you how powerful these websites are. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and click on Pedigree, and here is my Pedigree View. Now you'll notice that I've got a lot of color here because I had my web page, or my RootsMagic file was color coded. See, I had it color coded. If you have any questions on that, that's under Tools, Color Code People. That's how you can do that. If you color code your database, your website will be color coded as well. Okay? There are arrows to the right of each person's name out here, and I can move just like I do in RootsMagic. I can go up and down a generation at a time, and I can go back the same way I did. So just like in RootsMagic, I can navigate back and forth. Now, if I click on the little arrow to the left, what it's going to do is it's going to take me to that default child. But if I click on the plus sign, it's going to give me a list of all the children, and I can go follow a different line back down this tree. Okay, if I happen to be wandering around up in the tree and I'm thinking, oh man, I need to get back to that root person, all I have to do is come up here and click on root person, and that's going to take me back to that root person. Okay, now the next thing I want you to notice is next to every person's name, there are 3 icons right there. Okay, this first icon will take me to that person's individual page. That's going to be the page where I can see all the information about them, all of their events, their family members, things like that. The second icon are the families, and this is going to give me a little drop-down menu to select which family I want to see. Do I want to see the family where this person's a parent? Do I want to see the family where this person's a child? You know, and so on. And then the third one is going to show me the pedigree chart for that person. So if I want to see Lehi's pedigree chart, in other words, if I want Lehi down here, I could click the little arrows and get there, or I could just click the little pedigree and it's going to jump right to his pedigree. Now, one thing that's great is these 3 icons are next to every person on every page, every view. So if I go in to see Howard Smith Jr.'s individual page, okay, here's his individual page. And again, like I say, every time you have a person's name, you're going to have the links to go to their individual page, their family pages, or their pedigree chart. And it doesn't matter which view I'm on. So it gives his life range. It's going to give his picture here. Okay, it's going to have his events, the date of the events, the place, and there's going to be icons out here if there's a note. So if he has a birth note, I can click on the birth note, and there's my birth note for him. Same thing with sources. If I click on sources, there are my sources for him, for his birth, actually. And if there's media, I can click on that, and that's going to open up the media attached to that. Now, if there's more than one media item, you'll have little arrows down here that you can click to go back and forth, kind of like a media album for him. You can go back and forth through all of his media items. Okay, so you're going to see all of his events. You're going to come down, you're going to see his families. Here's one spouse. Here's another spouse with their children. and here's his father and his mother and his siblings. And again, as I mentioned, every single person is going to have those same 3 icons. So if I come down here and I want to see Floridel Jones's families, if I click on that, it's going to show me the family with Howard Smith Jr., who I'm just looking at, that family group sheet, or I can see the one where she's a child with her birth parents. Let's go ahead and look at this one so we can see what the family group view looks like. Okay, if there's any family notes, those will be showing as well. There's going to be the father with his information, all of his events, along with notes, sources, media. The mother, all of her events with dates and places and notes, sources, and media. And their children, any of their children are going to be in here as well. Okay, there's also going to be, if there are any sources for the family, those will show there as well as family sources. Okay, so I've shown you 3 different views. Okay, I'm going to go back to the pedigree. I've shown you 3 different views: the pedigree view, the individual view, and the family view. And as you can see, you can navigate between any of those views, any person on any view, just as easily as clicking on those little icons. Very, very easy to use. But if you remember early on, there was an option that said, do you want to create a help file or a help page for your website? If you do, it's going to create a little help link right here, and it'll show up on all the pages. And when you click on that, or when the person coming to your site clicks on that, they are going to get a page on how to navigate this site. It's going to say, here's what home does, here's how the name index works, here are the views, the individual view, the pedigree view, and the family view. And it basically tells that user, here is how you can navigate around through this website. So it gives them the help. Download GEDCOM. If they click on that, they can download the GEDCOM. Contact. If they click on Contact, that opens up this little pop-up where they can email you or they can see your address right from there. As I mentioned, this is not scrapable by spam collecting robots. Okay, last option I want to show you on the website is the name index. And the name index is really cool. When you click on that, it's going to give you a list of the letters that surnames within this file. So if you click on S, you're going to see all of the S's. And you're going to see there's 1 Sanford, 1 Shaw, there's 37 Smiths, there's 1 Smithson, 1 Staley, and 1 Stoddard. So if I click on Smith, what it's going to do is it's going to show me all of the Smiths. And again, in the index, you're going to get those same 3 links. So when I look at a person, I can go to his individual page, I can go to any of his family pages, or I can go right straight to his pedigree chart. So I can go to any view that this person appears in. Okay. Now, if somebody comes to your website, they could be looking for a specific person. So they might be going to J, and they're looking for Jones, and then they can scroll through and do that. But there's an easier way that they can do that, and that is with this search box. So if they come in here and just start typing S-M-I-T-H, you're going to see RootsMagic is going to filter so that it gets only the Smiths. Okay, it's getting Smithson too. So if I type S, so that's S, oh, you can see it's going to filter out that Smith. So it's going to do that. But what's really nice is they can then type a comma and type a first name or a middle name. And so by typing Smith, comma, James, they're getting James Smith, they're getting Dr. James Smith, they're getting James William, and then they're getting a couple of people whose middle name is James, Nathaniel James and William James. So just by typing in a name, they can actually filter this index to get those names instantly. They don't have to type in a name and then do a search. It's instantly going to list the people who have those names. Okay, so let's go ahead, and I want to look at answer a couple of the questions that we're getting here. First question is it possible to customize these screens? The answer is currently no, other than being able to select, of course, a title and entering your own description and choosing your own picture. As for doing colors or kind of the overall layout, it's not currently you're not currently able to customize screens, but that is something that is coming. We are working on some additional templates and information on how you could even create your own templates or or have people submit templates that they could use. So right now you're kind of limited to this look, but templates will be coming. Next question, what if I need to update my website? If you need to update your website, all you do is go up to Internet, say Publish Online, and just go through your Publish Online information online again, step through it, regenerate the file that has your whatever new information you may have added, and then just tell it, publish my information again, and it will overwrite your existing web page, your existing site, with the new one. Okay, you don't have to go delete it first. If you want to, you can, because you can log into your account and delete the site and then upload it, but it's not necessarily necessary. You can just go in and republish the site, and it will replace the one you already had. Next question, can I have more than one website? The answer is currently yes, you can have 2 websites. Each one of those websites has that 50 megabyte limit. Right now, what you need to do is when you go to Internet and say Publish Online, you have to create a second my.rootsmagic.com account because of the fact that your website address is my.rootsmagic.com/your username. Okay, so you need to create a second myrootsmagic.com account. The one gotcha, as you saw earlier, is it does require a different email address and that's something we're working on getting around so that you can use your same email address. But if like you have an email address and your spouse has an email address, you can go ahead and do that, or whatever. If you have 2 email addresses, you can use each of those. But it does allow you to have 2 myrootsmagic.com accounts so that you can do the 2 different lines. Now, in the future, most likely we will be also increasing that number. Just like we'll be increasing the 50 megabyte limit, we will also be increasing the number of individual sites you can have. But right now, it's limited to 2. Next question, how do I only include selected people? Okay, I did kind of mention that when you went into Publish Online and you said Publish my information, there was this option, Include Everyone. You can choose uncheck that, and then when you step through and pick your options, when you say Generate Site, RootsMagic's going to bring up a list of everybody in your database, and this is where you can mark individuals or you can mark groups. You can go mark the ancestors of a person or people that are last name Smith or whatever. That's where you can select that group of people to choose only selected people. Okay, next question. Who can see this website? That's actually a good question. Right now, when you put up your website, it's going to be my.rootsmagic.com/JohnJacobSmith. The only people that are really going to see your site are the people that you give that URL to. So, for example, if I create this and never tell anybody that it exists, then most likely people are not going to find it. Now, that being said, if somebody does come across this, and they do actually find your website, they will be able to see everything on your site. So if there is information that you don't want other people to see, don't put it up on the website. Filter it out. Go in and mark it as private and make sure that you don't include private information, because if somebody does get that URL, somebody emails it to them or whatever, they will be able to see all of that. Okay. The second part is this site indexed? Okay. In other words, is Google going to find this? And the answer to that is, for the data pages, no. Those data pages, the pedigree, the family group, and the individual pages, those pages are not static HTML pages. Those pages are dynamic in that they are created as you ask for them. Okay, when you say, give me the pedigree chart for this person, that website actually creates that file that you're looking at on the fly. Now, this page right here, this index page, this page can be indexed by Google. And so if if you have certain family names or whatever that you would like people to possibly be able to find through Google, you can put that in the introduction. You can say this website covers, descendants of James Smith, born blah, 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 in such and such place. So you can put that detail into this introduction on this home page, and Google will be able to index that. And then once they find this home page, of course, they can go to the index or whatever and find all the rest of that. Okay, next question. Can someone that's viewing the site change anything? And the answer to that is no. When they come to your website, it's just that. It's a website. It's not editable. They can't go in and make any changes. You can put something in that introduction along the lines of, hey, if you have information that we need to add or edit or create, click the contact link over there and email us and let us know what we need to change, and we'll get that change in. Another question, can anyone print off information from the website? That's a very good question, and the answer is kind of. If they're looking, for example, at the pedigree, if they go up to the options and they choose to print, let's go ahead and look at the print preview. What RootsMagic will do is it will try to create a printer-friendly version of that page. Okay, so in other words, it doesn't have all that navigation information over here on the side. It tries to do as nice of a printout version as it can. So the answer to that is yes, you can we do try to make it so that they can print something nice off from the web page. Okay, is everyone included even if not in the pedigree? And that's kind of a question based back on the old RootsMagic web pages back in RootsMagic 1, 2, 3, and so on. In those old versions, you couldn't. It would only include the people in the main pedigree. In this, as you can see, because it's not limited to just a pedigree, but you actually have, the entire name index, everybody in your file, and you can go in and you can go see just an individual page if that's all they have, or just the family pages, or just the pedigree. So even if you have a person in your database that's not linked to anybody else in the file, they will be included if you ask for everybody to be included. Next question, will long narratives go onto the site? If you have some long notes, yes, those will be included on the site. I don't know how well they would work, for example, in a pedigree, or let me go into the family view. If you had a really long birth note, if you click on that note, if it's really long, it becomes tough. You're basically having to scroll up and down. Kind of, you can experiment with it. But yes, if you do have a long note, that will be included. It's just may be a little bit clumsier to work with than you might like. Okay, will this feature work with RootsMagic 5? The answer is no. This is a new feature. This Publish Online feature is a new feature in RootsMagic 6. RootsMagic, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, they didn't even know about my.rootsmagic.com, so, they couldn't possibly know anything about how to upload or publish the site. So this is a new feature that is new to RootsMagic 6. Oh, another question, this is actually more of a statement somebody had. These websites are these account names are case sensitive. So in other words, when I created my account, I created it called John Jacob Smith. And so when I go there, it takes me to that site. Now, if I were to tell somebody, oh, go to my website, John Jacob Smith, and I had uppercased something, when I do that, you're going to see it doesn't exist. Okay, so whatever case you created that account name with, that's what your website needs to do. So if you want it all lowercase, make sure you keep it lowercase. If you want those uppercases in there, make sure you keep them consistent, because it is going to be case sensitive. Whatever case you created that account with, that's what this URL is going to have. Is it possible to transfer, to put this website on my own server? Again, as I mentioned, yes. As you stepped through in RootsMagic and created it, it had that file folder and said all your files are in this folder, and then you can upload it. Now, one little gotcha on that is, as I mentioned, RootsMagic, when it creates these web pages, it scales down the images. So if you have a census image that's like 10 megabytes, RootsMagic's going to scale that down to make it take less room on my.rootsmagic.com, so you don't use up your full 50 megabytes because you have 5 census images. Okay. Unfortunately, RootsMagic's always going to do that. So if you do want to put it on your own server, you will have that limitation, and that those census images will be scaled way down, so you can't zoom way in and see all the detail. That's something we're looking at working on. That if you choose to put it on your own site, we are looking at giving you the option to have it not scale down those images. Anyways, well, it looks like all the other questions are kind of repeats of these, just in different words. So hopefully you've enjoyed this webinar, and you've been able to see how easy it is to create a very high quality website. You just step through, answer a few questions, and log into your my.rootsmagic.com account, and you've got your website. That's our goal. Try to make that easy. If you have any questions on it, let us know, and we'll see you again next week. Thanks for joining us.